morning to one and all. Myself, Dr. Gurjeet, on behalf of Pondicherry University, is honored to welcome the Assembly of esteemed Vice Chancellor Sir, distinguished guests from around the world, both online and offline mode, professors, non-teaching staff, and the research scholars gathered here for the inauguration of 3-day international Writeshop on urgent research framework, urban resilience, and adaptation for India and Mongolia. Now I request Professor S. Jayakumar Sir to honor the esteemed Vice Chancellor Sir, Pondicherry University. Thank you, Professor. Now I request the esteemed Vice Chancellor Sir to honor the guests on the dais with the memento. Professor Khalif, Professor and Head of the Department of Environmental Protection and Landscape at Estonian University of Life Science, Tartu, Estonia. Thank you, sir. Dr. Anton, Senior Researcher at Estonian University of Life Sciences, Tartu, Estonia. Dr. Daniel, Associate Professor at the University of Catania, Italy. Professor K.V. Devi Prasad Sir, Dean, School of Life Sciences, Pondicherry University. Professor P.K. Joshi Sir, Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi, and the coordinator of the Indian partners. Thank you, esteemed Vice Chancellor Sir, for honoring the guests with the memento. Respecting our rich Indian tradition, I request the dignitaries on the dais to start the program by lighting the lamp. Thank you all. Now I would request Professor S. Jayakumar Sir, Coordinator of the Erasmus Program from the Pondicherry University and a renowned and dynamic personality, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, one and all. Pondicherry University is one of the partner institutions of European Union funded urgent project, Urban Resilience and Adaptation for India and Mongolia under Erasmus Plus program. It is indeed a great pleasure to welcome the chief guest of today's event, our esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor Gurmeet Singh, to this international event. Sir, your gracious presence adds more glory to this event and gives inspiration to the members of Erasmus Plus Urgent Project. On behalf of the organizing team and on behalf of the partner institutions from India, Mongolia, and Europe, I welcome you, sir. Next, I extend a warm welcome to the members of European partners, Dr. Khalif, Professor and Chair, Estonian University of Life Sciences, Estonia, Dr. Anton Shakruba, Senior Researcher, Estonian University of Life Sciences, Estonia, Dr. Daniele, Associate Professor, University of Catania, Italy, Dr. Ricardo from University of Catania, Italy, and there are 3 more partner institutions. Urgent D Group from Martin Luther King University, Halle. He is joining us through online. Dr. Igor and Dr. Ildal. He is from University of Bremen, Germany. I extend a warm welcome to our Indian partners, Professor P.K. Joshi, the coordinator of Indian partners, Professor, he is from School of Environmental Sciences, Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi, Dr. Deepnarayan Pande from JNU, Delhi, Dr. Devjani Ghosh, Associate Professor, National Institute of Urban Affairs, New Delhi, Dr. Sharad Babu, Lead Data Technology from NOEA, New Delhi, Dr. Akhlaq and his team from Sher Kashmir University of Agriculture Sciences and Technology, Kashmir, Dr. Asif and Mushtaq also from the Kashmir University. Dr. Lavlin Green is from the Chief Planner, Gujarat International Finance Tech City Company Limited, Gandhinagar, the non-academic partner of this project. Dr. Swati Kotari and Dr. Neeru Bansal from Nirma University are on the way. They will be joining us in the afternoon. Partners from Mongolia and Europe who are also attending this program online: the National University of Mongolia, Ulaanbaatar, Code University of Code, Mongolian University of Life Sciences, Ulaanbaatar, Governor's Office of Jaglansom, Ulaanbaatar, Urban Planning and Design Institute of Ulaanbaatar, and National Garden Park. I welcome all the partners who are attending this function online from Mongolia and Europe. I also welcome the faculty of our university and other institutions who are present here and also online. I also welcome the PhD scholars of Pondicherry University who are attending this function online and who are attending offline. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, for making a great start to the Writeshop. Moving right along, it is now my pleasure to invite Professor Pawan K. Joshi, sir, School of Environmental Sciences, JNU, New Delhi, and the coordinator of the Indian partners to introduce the urgent project. Professor Joshi is trained originally as an environmentalist, then as an ecologist, developing skills in the remote sensing and GIS with firm scientific research basis. Professor has also received National Remote Sensing Award in 2014 by Indian Society of Remote Sensing.
Thank you very much. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Gurmeet Singh Ji, Dean School of Life Sciences, Professor K.V. Devi Prasad Ji, colleagues on the dais, colleagues of the dais, colleagues attending this from different parts of the country, European Union, Mongolia, students both online and offline. This is indeed a pleasure, introducing you all to one of a multi-institutional project. We simply call it urgent. Urgent, as the name suggests, it is something very important which needs an immediate attention. But the acronym is for Urban Resilience and Adaptation, and specifically targeting on India and Mongolia. This Erasmus-funded program basically looks at supporting sustainable urban transition in partner countries by providing up-to-date, responsive training and expertise in the development of nature-based solutions, green and blue infrastructure within various programs through formal training education, informal workshops, and also interaction with different kind of stakeholders. We have objectives to revise and implement these components of nature-based solution and specifically green and blue infrastructure in our course contents through BSc programs, master's degree programs, and also encouraging for doctoral research and further research on this. We are committed to develop an urgent collaborative learning platform so that online training could be carried out. And this is probably what National Education Policy 2020-2000 is also looking forward to. Ultimately, we wish to create a sustainable feedback mechanism so that the actual end users, ensuring adaptive and practice-relevant teaching content could be there, and also co-producing the knowledge based on best of the practices in the country and in the world, so as to ensure the stakeholders who are responsible to take decisions on the ground or implement the things can take a benefit of such academic knowledge based on practices, research, and expertise within country and abroad. So finally, it also supports the mobility of researchers to and fro, so that the young researchers can leverage on the possibility of interacting with experts outside, taking some knowledge from there, and also propagating the kind of culture and the knowledge bank which India holds and which is very much towards sustainable development since the time when this term was coined. So we wish to carry out joint research in this. So the 5 focal points which we all have looked at are basically urban forestry, landscape architecture, urban permaculture, intensive smart and blue urban planning, and finally observation, information and communication based on the learnings which are there with us. So I feel very happy sharing that we have 6 countries which are being represented and we have 16 partners from these 6 countries. These 6 institutions basically from India, Mongolia and European Union. It goes beyond academic institutes, like we have representatives from National Institute of Urban Affairs. We will be expecting colleagues from Gujarat International Finance Tech City, and through online we have people on Urban and Horticulture Landscape Department of Mongolia. So it is a commitment so that we all learn together, grow together and ensure the way entire world is looking towards sustainable development goals and mitigating the impacts of climate change. Somewhere through nature-based solutions, blue and green infrastructure, we add to that knowledge and the practice towards. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor, for introducing the Urgent project. Now I would request Dr. Anton, Senior Researcher at Estonian University of Life Science, Tartu, Estonia, to introduce the scope of this 3-day workshop, Writeshop. Sir has been involved in a number of research and capacity building projects, mostly in the region of Eastern Europe, including those implemented under the European Union Framework Program, Erasmus+, UNDP, World Bank, and many more.
Yeah, thank you very much for the lovely introduction. First of all, I want to thank the University of Pondicherry, the Vice Rector, the Dean of the Faculty, and especially Professor Jay Kumar for the fantastic organization. It really looks like unprecedented at level, and we are very much impressed and we greatly appreciate this. Thank you very much. Then also I want to thank Professor Joshi for his comprehensive yet very clear and concise introduction to the Urgent project. Even for myself, although I was in charge for writing the proposal, many urgent objectives became much more clear now. And what's most important, although our project is on for already more than a year, actually I'm getting the feeling that the project has properly started. Because we're all social creatures, the humans. We need to meet, we need to talk, we need to see each other. And unfortunately, online meetings cannot replace live encounters. And that's why I'm so happy that at last the world has started to open, and at last we can travel, we can meet, and we can communicate and can understand better what we want. Indeed, we already have some first deliverables in our project. We have started our curriculum development, and some courses are being already piloted, and some equipment is being purchased. Nevertheless, it's really only now that we are starting seriously as kind of big action based on people-to-people relations, what any Erasmus Plus project ought to be. So speaking about this Writeshop, it was planned already on the stage of the development of the application 2 years ago at least. And indeed, for quite some time, we were not hopeful for this event would actually take place. Because, you know, even a couple of months ago, it was almost unthinkable that actually we can all come together and travel to India, also to have all the esteemed Indian colleagues here in Pondicherry. But luckily now we're all here, and thanks to the God, and thank you to the great commitment of our colleagues from Pondicherry that this actually is happening. Speaking about this Writeshop, originally it had a little bit less ambitious objective. research framework is one of the deliverables of our project. We're supposed to have some kind of common ground on how exactly we approach research training in this project, how we work with our PhD students, and how we use the combined resources of our partnership and resources of this project. I'm not speaking only about financial ones, but also the expertise, first of all, how we use them to make research training better, more forwardly looking, more kind of based on international outlook, but also on specific needs of the praxis. And now when we are all together basically for the first time, this is for us also an opportunity to look back a little bit and to see actually how our first efforts in this project, how they actually correspond to our joint objectives. We need to correct a little bit the very objective of the project. When the application was developed, the global pandemics was not the case yet, and we were not aware of these new challenges. Now we are. We know that cities, they should be livable under kind of broader range of circumstances, not only in the normal state, but also in the state of self-isolation. We know now that online learning, it's kind of not a luxury thing, but that's a strict necessity in case of irregularities like COVID pandemics happening. And that all makes us to revise a little bit our understanding of our objectives and our understanding of what we have to reach. Although we are starting the meeting only today, actually I would say that for me this meeting, this research framework discussion has actually started even 2 days ago when we had a lovely meeting at the National Institute of Urban Affairs in New Delhi. And we had an absolutely fantastic introductory speech by the director of the institute, who actually gave to me and also for all of us, the meeting participants, a lot of thought for our minds actually. Why urgent is needed as the project for India, why it is important for people from the praxis, and how we can benefit not only the partners, not only the curricula and the universities, but how we can benefit Indian society at large. Because apparently urban resilience and livability of cities, that's a huge challenge, and we still have quite vague and ambiguous indications of how exactly this challenge can be addressed. We have here a lot of fundamental issues to tackle, and the range of these issues is truly threatening. Even starting from such, well, not exactly academic and not exactly something within our normal expertise issue, as legitimacy of the decisions we take when we do urban master plans, when we take decisions, when decisions are taken about how cities are to be developed. Why our youth, the young people, would believe that the action we take now when we design master plans, when we design some big pieces of infrastructure, why these decisions are important to them, why they're valid, why they can trust us that what we do now will constitute the resilience and bright future. Then we have other issues of smaller kind. Say, like in India now, a big thing is to develop smart cities. It's an important part of the national agenda, and there is a policy ambition to have 100 smart cities sooner or later, which is a fantastic thing. But then again, how exactly we do it? And it's nice that at high political floor there is recognition of the importance of smart city environments, whatever it means. But then also how we use this good, nice, although top-down move really to make sense of it. How we use it to make our cities livable, not only on the level of policy declarations, but also on the level of practical living, because, well, most of us are urban residents, and indeed we are concerned about the quality of our urban environments. Then what we universities can do to support this, and what universities can do to really fill this policy agenda with real things which are meaningful, which are useful, and that would be appreciated by people and by future generations. Because whatever we do now, it's mostly for future generations. When we make our long-term strategies, that's most likely that we won't actually see the full result of them. So, and whatever ambitious that sounds, but that's exactly the focus and the scope of this Writeshop. We need to see how, what exactly are the needs on the ground, what exactly are the needs in the society, how the universities joining urgent in India, but we also have to find a way how to communicate this with Mongolian partners, how universities can contribute with this, given all the resource constraints, then given all the constraints and expertise, our capacity, which is, well, still very limited, and also all the limitations related to the communication of our funding to high policy floors, because indeed we can suggest a lot of nice things, but it's not for given that our nice suggestions will be actually heard on the higher political floors. So how we actually address this? Then we shall see actually how this corresponds to the mandate of this project, and how European partners can support these endeavors. Indeed, we are lucky to have quite a strong backup in Europe. We have four academic institutions with strong expertise in different aspects of city livability and city resilience. We have Estonian University of Life Sciences, which is basically strong ecology research hub and environmental management research hub. We have University of Catania with our impressive forces in such issues as urban planning and engineering of urban environments. We have University of Halle in Germany that has fantastic expertise in landscape ecology and in planning issues related to it. And indeed, we have our friends in Bremen who are coordinating this project and who can provide all the needed support for the development of online solutions. So we have capacity, we have quite some resources to offer. They, however, limited, and this is our task actually, how to make the most of these limited resources, how to match all these three dimensions, what we can do from Europe, what is capacity of universities in India and aspirations of the universities in India, and what is the actual needs of the society. Like, indeed, in the narrow range where these needs can be met by the action at the level of universities. So this is what we have in our agenda, and this is what we've got to do during the next 3 days. And when it will come to specific sessions, I will give more specific introduction to each of the sessions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Anton, for introducing the scope of the 3-day Writeshop. So as a part of Erasmus program, there are 16 partner institutions from India, Mongolia, and Europe. Now I request Dr. Ricardo, Assistant Professor at the University of Catania, Italy, to please introduce himself.
Good morning, everybody. Let me say that I'm really happy to be here this morning. And actually, for me, it's the very first time to visit India, and I'm really, I don't know how can I say, I'm really impressed with this country, and I would like to enjoy this time with you, because I think that this, one of the most important outcomes of this kind of project, I mean, joining Europe and Asia, it's a very important cultural opportunity for everyone. And I'm sure, I'm really convinced that this kind of projects could help on improving this kind of not only scientific but also social and cultural cooperation between countries and continents, of course. I'm assistant professor at Department of Civil Engineer and Architecture. My background is urban planner. I work on department, and we are committed on in several international projects, but also in local projects, because the scale, I'm really convinced that the scale of the project is really important, because the international cooperation could help us on improving our knowledge, our awareness on different kind of issues, topics, and problems all around the world. But finally, particularly because we are urban planner, it's asked to us to operate and to act at local level. So that's why I think that we have to force this kind of step. I mean, improving and growing our knowledge and awareness at international and global issues, but finally apply these issues to the local scale. Our department, I mean, we are developing many issues, particularly related to the climate change effect that currently are affecting all over the world, particularly the urban areas, and particularly the dense urban areas. The climate change effects are more and more severe across the years and across the decades. And now we have to be aware about all the strategies and action that can be implemented in order to cope and to deal with this kind of issues. For example, adaptation and mitigation strategies are relevant for dealing and for improving the quality, the health, the security, the safe of our contemporary cities. In our department, me and my colleague Daniele, that is there, we are committed in several scientific topics. For example, developing the concept of green infrastructure, the concept of and the role and the fundamental role of developing and improving the provision of ecosystem services coming from the green infrastructure, but also developing and mitigating the urban risks that are affecting currently our contemporary cities. In example, the flood risk, the seismic risks that are particularly relevant in specific context. And of course, developing all these kind of topics, it's basically relevant for our health, because the health and the quality of our life should be how can I say, the first and the most important issue that we should be committed and engaged as urban planners in particular. Finally, I just want to say, and I just want to wish to spend these 3 days in a very fruitful way. I mean, I'm sure that during these 3 days we will be able to share and to how can I say, to share and to develop new commitments, new challenges, because this project, Urban Resilience and Adaptation for India and Mongolia, is, for me, in my opinion, is a big opportunity for everyone to try to transfer knowledge from Europe to India, Mongolia, and vice versa, of course. And hope that these 3 days will be fruitful and that we will be able to enjoy as much as possible this time. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, sir. Now I request the participants from India to please come forward to the dais and introduce themselves, and please receive the memento from the chief guest of the program, esteemed Vice Chancellor, sir. May I now request the participants from National Institute of Urban Affairs, New Delhi, to introduce themselves.
Namaskar and good morning. I come from National Institute of Urban Affairs, Associate Professor Dr. Devjani Ghosh. We are one of the non-academic partners in this project. So my world is action research and working with urban practitioners, and all the academic inputs which actually come into creating academic curricula is absolutely important for the cities and the people who run the cities. So I think an interaction with urban practitioners as well as academicians, as is happening in this project, is very important, because urban resilience and adaptation has become a very important component of all cities. We have seen that all cities are grappling with this new kind of, you could say, urban disaster in a way, and resilience and trying to mitigate them and try to adapt with it is something which all cities at this point of time find it very important. So I think what NIUA can help in this is that the learnings from this project can be made more enabling to the urban practitioners so that they are able to deal with this in a better way. Thank you. My colleague Sharath is also here, and he is directly working with the Climate Center for Cities, which is creating an enabling framework for about 250 odd cities in India who are trying to find a framework where this kind of adaptation and mitigation can be implemented. Thank you.
May I now request the participants from Sher-e-Kashmir University of Agriculture, Sciences and Technology of Jammu, Kashmir to please introduce themselves.
A very good morning, Honorable Vice Chancellor and other participants. I am Dr. Akhlaq Amin Vani, working as Associate Professor in the Division of Forest Resource Management at Sher-e-Kashmir University of Agriculture, Sciences and Technology. The main domains of university include agricultural sciences, including horticulture, agriculture, forestry, fisheries, veterinary sciences. So it's a proud privilege that we are part of this urban resilience project that's urgent, and my core expertise includes fragile Himalayan ecology, urban forestry, mapping and monitoring. I have with me my two colleagues, Dr. Asif Ali Gattu. He is assistant professor at Forest Resource Management Division in the same university, and his domain of expertise is ecology. And I have my another colleague with me, Dr. Shah Murtaza. His core expertise includes climate change and urban applications. Thank you very much.
May I now request the participants from Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi to please introduce themselves.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. Myself, Dr. Deepnarayan Pande, working as an assistant professor in Jawaharlal Nehru University. My center name is Special Center for Disaster Research, and my area of specialization is community-based disaster management, and I am also working on urban resilience and disaster management. And I want to tell you the importance of this place. It is a place, this place has a great linkages with Roman Empire. Before 200 BC, one city is near, one archaeological site near to Pondicherry is Arikmedu. Its place has evidence, great evidence with Augustus Caesar, and this place is also very great linkages with Ulaanbaatar. Bodhidharman has spread the Buddhism in Central Asia and Mongolia also. So we have a great enthusiasm about this place, and this place is also has a great linkage with Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, these Baltic countries, Italy and Mongolia also. So thank you.
The participants from the Nirma University, Ahmedabad, and from the Gujarat International Finance Tech City Company Limited, Gandhinagar, will be joining us in the afternoon session. The partners from the University of Bremen, Martin Luther University, Halle from Germany are attending the program in online mode. The partners from Mongolia from different institutions, namely National University of Mongolia, Khov State University, Governor's Office of Jarglen Sam, Khov Province, Urban Planning and Design Institute of Ulaanbaatar, National Garden Park Ulaanbaatar has also joined us in the online mode. Now I would request Professor K.V. Devi Prasad Sir, Dean, School of Life Sciences, Pondicherry University, to deliver the Felicitation Address.
Distinguished delegates on the dais, Professor Gurmeet Singh, and colleagues from JNU and Europe and Professor Jayakumar. It's my pleasure to give a felicitation address to this very important event. And as I was telling my distinguished Vice Chancellor, the role of a dean is neither to be the fuel nor to be the fire, only to be the wick, enabling the fuel to get to the fire to burn. So that's my role, to facilitate and to felicitate both. And that has been my role. And as I was listening, I couldn't help but think of two numbers that came about: 6 partners and 16 partner institutions. Now, I don't know how many are familiar, in this part of the country, the normal method of blessing anybody younger than you is to say, get all the 16 types of riches, which starts from health, happiness, education, and so on, all 16. And normally everybody makes fun of India's weather, saying hot, hotter, hottest, but we are not comfortable with 3, so we divided it further into 6. We have, this is Vasanta Rutu, and the next is Hemanta Rutu, Grishma Rutu, Sarat Rutu, and so on. There are 6 seasons, so this 6 partners takes care of the temporal universe, and the 16 partner institutions takes care of the psychological universe, I guess. So it's a very interesting set of numbers at play, just as an aside. But I'm very, very happy that this very important event is taking place, and this is one of the first projects where academic curricular development is one of the major focuses. So that is very, very important to note, and very, very likely to be conducive to the growth of all the 16 partner institutions. So let me wish Willkommen herzlich to the German partners, and bienvenue to Italian partners. And I don't know any Mongolian, so I don't know how to wish them. They will forgive me for my ignorance, but it's my pleasure to welcome all of them to this very necessary effort to develop curriculum for a very disparate set of entities. Mongolia is one of the cold deserts, so probably the only cold desert other than Antarctica, but Antarctica nobody lives permanently. Mongolia people live permanently. It's a very unusual environment, so the challenges for Mongolia are quite different than the challenges that are that of India. Of course, India and EU has had a long partnership. In fact, it so happens they have put a photograph of me in the memento that is from a similar conference 12 years ago, which was in Bonn on a similar issue. So it's again a coincidence, I guess. I don't know whether intentional or otherwise, but so that anyway, that's a very interesting note. So we are engaged. There have been partnership between cities in Europe and India, and I'm sure there will be partnership between cities in Mongolia and India as well very soon, thanks to this program. So I wish the 3 days Writeshop all the success. I hope you will have a very definite action plan to improve teaching and curriculum development in our university as well as in all partner institutions, and also how to translate. The importance is this workshop is transnational, but this output needs to be translational. So with this few words, I wish the workshop all success. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Now I would request Professor Khalif to deliver the felicitation address. Dr. Khalif is a professor and head of the Department of Environmental Protection and Landscape at the Estonian University of Life Sciences. Sir was also the Vice President of the International Union for Nature Conservation, IUCN, and elected Counselor of IUCN from 2004 to 2012, and a Horizon 2020 Program Committee member of the Environment, including climate change in Brussels. Sir, please.
Thank you. Good morning. It's Honorable Vice Chancellor. It's a great honor to be again in India. For me, it's the second visit. We had once IUCN Council meeting in Delhi. IUCN had president from India, Ashok Khosla, and then we had wonderful meeting in Delhi and visited Corbett National Park. But about this project, I like this project a lot. Why? First of all, the topic, urgent, green and blue infrastructure, nature-based solutions in urban areas. We all know that we're facing degradation of biodiversity. We know we should adapt climate change, living environment is degrading. We know all those environmental issues, but we should think also about the solutions. And I really hope that this project could bring some solutions. Of course, there are no universal solutions. And second, I like this project because this is about cooperation, this is about exchanging best practices. We can learn from India. We know that there are more than 100 smart cities. We can learn from Europe, but there are no universal answers. We just can change practices and adopt those. I like this project because we are developing curricula. We're involving students, master students, PhD students. They are our future. I like this project because we're also involving stakeholders. We academicians, we like to write articles, supervise PhDs, but this is our life. How we can contribute to society. And I'm very happy that we have also the practitioners, special planners from Delhi. And really, they are the people who should bring our ideas to the practice. And I like this project because this is really a cultural exchange. India is so diverse in different cultures. Also, Europe has very diverse cultures. And I'm happy that we still have 2 years ahead. And it's the first face-to-face meeting. It's very nice to see people outside Zoom. There are still some people on the Zoom, but I don't invite them, but at least they can be with us. But we are much more lucky we are here. Then I hope that it will be a very fruitful meeting, these 3 days. We should start, we can exchange our opinions. And I wish also all of us very fruitful, successful next 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Now I invite Dr. Daniel, Associate Professor, Department of Civil Engineering and Architecture, University of Catania, Italy, to deliver the Felicitation Address. Sir is a member of editorial board of relevant international peer review journals such as Nature-Based Solutions and Socio-Ecological Practice Research. Sir has also authored more than 90 publications. Sir, please.
Good morning, everyone. Again, I run the risk to repeat many of the things that my colleagues have already expressed to you. So first of all, my warmest thanks to Pondicherry University, especially to Professor Jajakumar for the very nice invitation and very sincere way he helped us to get here. So it was really a pleasure to come here. It's our first time, it's my first time in India, so this is an additional point of relevance for this visit. And I also would like to repeat that this opportunity is the first that we have to meet in person. So this is a second additional point of relevance for this event. I also have to repeat once again the relevance of the topics of the urgent project. And there is another point which makes this even more significant, for at least for us, at least for the department that I belong to, and also for our laboratory in our department, because these are exactly the topics that we are working on, as Dr. Ricardo has already told you. And this makes the possibility of exchanges with Indian colleagues, with Mongolian colleagues, and of course with all the other European colleagues more significant for us, because we can really offer something, we hope, but we can also get something from all these colleagues. And this is something that really happens in practical. When it happens that we exchanges for example, the syllabi that we are revising together. It really happens that we learn something from each other. So there is something coming from the Indian or Mongolian colleague, there is something coming from us. So this is something that we got from other previous experience of such a capacity building project. So since the topics are nature-based solution, green infrastructure, and the resilience of urban environment, I think this is even more important opportunity that we all together can get. Thanks a lot. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Dr. Daniel, sir. As quoted by Mahatma Gandhi ji, a sign of good leader is not how many followers you have, but how many leaders you create. With this, I take the opportunity to welcome the man behind the success of this university. With great honor and respect, I may invite esteemed Vice Chancellor, sir, the chief guest of today's program, to deliver the inaugural address.
Good morning, friends. When I entered the hall, I was a little baffled because I was slightly late. And I was wondering, the moment I am going to enter, what I'm going to tell them. In fact, I live the closest. The moment you touch the boundary, my house starts. So if somebody comes from far off places, there is a scope of making up or improving the delay. But when you come from such a close place, you are late. You can't make up, isn't it? So I was wondering what to say. So I thought I'll just say that I'm late. That's about it. That sums up everything, with apology, of course. Let me tell you, I'm delighted to be here for two reasons. One, that we have got over the worst that we faced in the mankind's history, that is pandemic that we faced. That is over. That is over more or less. We have developed herd immunity all over, and probably we will not be able to see, we should not be able to see this kind of a thing again repeated in our history. So as I said, I am delighted to be here, and I will take great pleasure in welcoming Dr. Kaleb from Estonia. Then we have Professor Anthony Shakaruba, Professor Daniel from Italy, and Professor Devi Prasad on the dais, our Dean, Professor Jayakumar, our head of the department, and Ricardo from Italy again, and host of people from all over. I deem it a great honor to extend a very warm welcome to this particular conference. And I said, I'm happy on two counts. One, we are now getting back to almost normal life in our academics, which is very heartening. Gone are the days when we were huddled in our own rooms and we were wondering what to do. Hats off to our IT experts all over the world that we, with their help, we almost led a kind of a normal life. When you return to this, it's a delight to see the vibrancy coming back to the campus. And I'm particularly happy that our Ecology department has taken a lead in organizing this particular workshop, conference, as we say, where people from very many countries are involved and people from about 16 institutes from our country are involved. So this makes me very happy, because the moment you return to normal life and you talk about something on ecology and something on environmental sciences, nothing better can be there. So this makes me happier, and I'm sure this particular workshop, seminar, 3 days interaction that you're going to have is going to be resulting in something very fruitful from the academics point of view. One of the best ways to carry out research in the modern science is to have an association with very many departments, with as many departments as you can. If somebody thinks that I'm going to just create everything in my own lab and I'm going to do everything there only, I don't think it is going to be a possibility, because the way world is advancing, the tendency is becoming to know more and more about as little as you can. So with that coming in mind, I don't think one can do everything on one's own. So you have to collaborate, you have to go across. And I am absolutely thrilled when I saw that there are people who are collaborating from across the globe. I have had the pleasure of visiting many of these places, particularly Italy. If you talk about, you name a city, I probably would have gone there, would have lectured. And I have had about, if not more, at least 10 visits. We were having collaboration with the Electrochemical Scientific Society of that. And every year, we would hold a workshop in Delhi, and next year it will be in Italy. So this went on for a long time, and it resulted in some very wonderful work out of this collaborative work. But this is what is the need of the hour, and I am sure this will grow further with the beginning of this. It's a 3 years project, I learned, and this is the beginning of this. Now, in the beginning itself, if you have got together, of course, in a hybrid mode, but this will set in a pace, set in a tone for long-term association. I am particularly concerned, and I would advise my young youngsters, that this is the time that they should interact with these experts who have come from all over in this particular field. Interact with them, talk about your research area, find out what they have done, and this probably, if you take it seriously, probably would give you a direction that what way to mold your research in your own area, whatever area you're working in. And as I said in the beginning, there can be nothing better than to start our vibrancy in the campus from ecology and environmental point of view. The thing which is required, we are beginning from that. This is a very delightful experience, let me tell you. The other part which I wanted to tell you for those friends who are visiting this for the first time, probably from our own country, in fact, our country is a very vast country, and people talk about going to Switzerland, going to other parts, Europe, American continent, and whatever. Let me tell you, wherever you go in the world, I'm putting wherever, whatever kind of climate you look at or think of, wherever you go, you have it in our country at any point of time. You want snow, at any point of time you can get it. You want extremely hot weather, yes. Hot weather of the kind which is scorchingly hot, and people survive. That's the best part. 52, 53 degrees Celsius in certain part, at any point of time you can get it. People feel very happy, people survive, and they have developed habits of that kind. So this itself is a kind of a study that can lead to a lot of healthy results for environmental sciences. Those who have come here for the first time, for them, I would like to tell you in particular that this city where we are is a very wonderful city. It's a very spiritual city. I keep repeating this wherever I get a chance. It's a very positive city, a city which rejuvenates you. The moment you enter the boundary of Pondicherry, some kind of energy comes into you and you feel like going on and on with your work, which is not the case in many other cities. For example, the largest part of my life I have spent in a city where you enter, you start feeling negativity. You start feeling tired. Worst pollution, worst traffic, I'll not say worst kind of people, but then worst kind of water in the country. So that leads to some kind of stomach-related ailments, and people feel irritated most of the times. But then that's the center of power. That has its own advantages. So as compared to that, if you're here, it sets in a wonderful positive tone in your body. So those who are coming for the first time, I will suggest that take out about 3-4 hours. It's not a very big city, but then in 3-4 hours you can travel around. Some of the parts which one would have suggested you to go, they are closed. But from a distance you can always see this. The other part, I heard that there are urban planners who are here. We have a nearby city, big metro called Chennai. Most of you may not know. Most of you know about Chennai from the modern context. But not very long ago, about 40 years back, if you look at, or to be a little more precise, half a century back, if you look at the ancient literature, you will find that in the entire country, the city which was best designed to cater to all our problems was Chennai. It has the best drainage system in the country. It had the largest chunk of marshy land, where if it rains very heavily, water would go down, and there will never ever be a situation where water level will go down beyond a level. So this part people would probably not study, and this is unfortunately because ecology and environmental sciences are relatively new subjects. In most of the universities, they have come up as a part of interdisciplinary, but then now it's taking on. All over the world, in fact, that's the situation. It's not like chemistry, physics, mathematics, those conventional subjects that we had. So since these are newer subjects and people have not bothered to pay attention, the ways every city is developing, all over the world, I'm not blaming our own country, all over the world, they never bothered about these drainage systems. Somebody designed this so beautifully that even if there is the heaviest of rains or floods, the water would go down, move out to sea without any problem. So result is, if you look at the data, that city never had any floods, never had any problems, never had any waterlogging in any of the parts. Then once this was not taken care of, we find, and this you can check from whatever I'm making a statement about, every third year Chennai gets heavy flooding. Such a heavy flooding that people are locked indoor for 7, 8, 10 days continuously. There was a huge chunk of marshy lands. If somebody has traveled to that part or somebody is familiar, next to IIT Chennai, there was a huge marshy land which they have now covered with wonderful, beautifully designed malls. There is a whole lot of metro which has come up, and they say we have urbanized this land and it is expanded in all directions without realizing what damage you have done to the environment. And this is an area for the urban developers to study. Those who have come from outside, I think it's an excellent case study for this to be there. There have been such studies in a certain part of Italy. If you travel towards the southern Italy, near Sicily, there is a town called Palermo. I think my friends will bear me out on that. Such studies have been there. So it's a wonderful comparative study one can carry out. Since people have taken care of these aspects, they have been able to design high-speed rails there, which runs at a speed of about 150, 160 kilometers in the hilly areas. So this, if one takes care, probably everything can be developed. But if we decide to destroy something, I think then Almighty is the only person who will help us survive. So this is what I thought I would mention here, because there are experts from a variety of subjects, and therefore your interaction with one another, I am sure, would lead to very rich experience and will give you a lot of more ideas about which area to take our subjects into in terms of modernization of the subjects. It's a very important subject, there is no doubt about it. And I am, when you interact, when you listen to the talks, I was going through the program, a variety of topics have been chosen, and I am sure if somebody listens to it very carefully, it will be a very wonderful, rich, enriching experience for everybody. I am equally aware of the fact that since it's a hybrid mode, this is going to be recorded. And once you have a recording, it's a permanent treasure that you are going to be having with you for all the time, and whenever you have any time or any doubt, you can always go back to this recording and clarify your doubts. But my advice for my young researchers would be that don't let these experts rest in, live here in a very comfortable manner during the lunches and teas. Go and disturb them as much as you want and clarify your doubts. That is the best way, that is the most enriching way to get the benefit out of these kind of gatherings, wherein you will get more ideas about advancement of research. I compliment the department led by Dr. Jayakumar and all other team members who have taken an initiative, and they have got everybody together. It is under Erasmus Mundus, if I know. I'm sure that this will grow further and would lead to better results, for which we are looking forward to. So I wish the seminar a grand success and wish all the participants who are here a very happy, rejuvenating stay here in our wonderful city. I have not conveyed that what is it famous for. You will all know about it. Shri Aurobindo, Mother, all those philosophies the city is associated with. But then you will know when you stay here. I wish all of you a very happy stay, enriching stay, rejuvenating stay. Thank you very much for inviting me, and enjoy yourself, please.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. Your words will surely remain closer to our hearts. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Madhimaran Natarajan sir, Associate Professor, Department of Ecology and Environment Sciences, to propose the vote of thanks.
My pleasure for giving me an opportunity to give vote of thanks on behalf of the project partners as well as the organizing committee. First and foremost, I thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Pondicherry University, for, despite having a busy schedule, being here with us to inaugurate this event. Next, our respected Dean, School of Life Science, Professor Devi Prasad, for having he present here. And next, Dr. Anton Sakruba and Dr. Khalib from Estonian University. I thank you here. And next comes Dr. Shanti and Dr. Ricardo from University of Catania, Italy, here, who are here, and Dr. Debanji and Mr. Sarath from National Institute of Urban Affairs, New Delhi. And then I thank here Dr. Akila and Dr. Asif and also Dr. Shah here from SKU AST Kashmir, who are here present here, and Professor Joshi and Dr. Deepnarayan Pande from JNU. I thank you, and Sri Lovin Garg, Chief Planner at Urgent Project, in the Urgent Project. I thank you for being here, and Dr. Swati and Dr. Neeru from Nirma University. I thank you all, both here for having here, and finally partners from Mongolia, those were offline, mostly online as well, and partners from Europe, and Director Studies, Director Culture of Pondicherry University, our Registrar, Finance Officer Head, AMRC, Dean, International Relations, Head of other departments, a faculty from our own department, Computer Center, and also Public Relation Officer, PhD scholars and students. Of course, also those who are joined online. I thank you all for joining this event, and Professor Jaykumar also for giving this opportunity to give vote of thanks on being in this organizing committee. Thank you. Thank you all.